Hi there. In this video I'm going to make up an MSX computer tape cable, data recorder cable as they call it. So it's centered around one of these 8-pin DIN connectors. In actual fact, you look at the pinouts, you don't really need that one there, but I mean I've got it, I might as well use it. So I did have a go at this before and made a complete screw up of it. The remnants of this is still sort of floating around the desk. One of the key problems was this cable here, which is a 2.5mm mono jack for the remote control of the tape deck. It's a huge cable, it's really over the top, but it's the only one I had lying around. So these are the standard jacks, and that's fine. So I'm going to take that one off. We don't need that anymore. That was the original cable. The cable, they were fine, but yeah, I don't know. There were different sizes, and it put it this way, it did not go well. So I'm going to start again, and I found different cable. So all three cables for the in, the out, and the remote are all going to be the same going to the plug. I did the classic, had all the cables and it was mostly there, and I realised I hadn't put this thing on. So that was great. Anyway, so the cable I'm using now is not the best cable, but it should be easier to solder on. I'm going to tin those ends in a minute, and then we're going to have the same cable even for the remote. And what I'll do is I'll cut it down to size and I'll put some sleeving on it. That's probably good enough. It doesn't need to be perfect, but yeah, I was really struggling with these different size cables. It just wasn't working for me. So let's start again. What's going to happen now is all of these cables, at some point anyway, are going to be stuffed in here, and that's all going to be good. So first things first. See how thick that cable is. It's not really great. I mean, it's a great cable, but not for this purpose. So I'm going to tin these first. So these are going to be, that one's probably going to be either in or out, I don't know. And then the other end will go inside one of these, and it'll all be good. But right now, if we get some solder on all of those, we can start assembling it. Okay. Yeah, unlike a lot of computers, the MSX is like a standard for how you build a computer. And there are different manufacturers like Canon, Panasonic, Toshiba, Sharp, I think even a few others that actually built MSX machines. I've never really been into MSX. This is a recent thing. I've always been intrigued by it. A lot of them were cartridge-based games, and they're really good. And the architecture is actually fantastic. The one I've got is a Canon V-20, and I think it's a 3.8 meg Z80 CPU. That is tanking. That's really good. And it has a pretty good separate graphics processor with separate graphics memory. So it's a 64K machine, and it has, I believe it has a separate 16K video memory. So it's pretty good stuff. Right, how many have we got? We got one more cable to do. That one looks a bit long. Not quite sure why it's... yeah, I cut that one a bit longer than the rest, because I'm going to have to splice that into the remote cable. So the remote cable is a lot bigger, so I didn't want it to be too big, because that would be crazy. So I'm going to have to get some heat shrink on that. This is, I think, too small. I need to get some other stuff, but we'll worry about that later. So the first thing we're going to do is do the most important one, which is data in. Without data in, we can't do anything. So 5. So if we look at the pin out here, it's where is it? 5, where is 5? 5 is in, and next to 5 is 3, so that's ground. So if we have 5 and then the one next to it is ground, that can be our data in. So it is actually labelled, although it got a little bit melty from before, unfortunately. Yeah, it did not go particularly well. But hey, so it's those two there, 3 and 5. So I'm going to use the helping hands and stuff the wires down there. What I'm looking to do is actually have it so that the which way around am I going to do it? So the data is going to be white in this case. It's got white and green. The data is going to be the white one. That's a very dirty cable. Okay. In fact, before I do that, I meant to crop these leads. I'm going to crop them a bit more because they were a little bit too long, I think. Just take a millimetre off it. Okay. And then the next one. Stuff gets soft very quickly. So. Nice. Good. No, not really. No. It's very fiddly, this one. It's quite a density plug, so it's kind of difficult. I'm going to go look for some tweezers. Where are your tweezers? You're somewhere. Nowhere. Where are the tweezers? Lots and lots and lots of spudgers, but no tweezers. Is it in there? Oh, hang on. Not really. Not sure that one's going to work. I haven't really used this tool for this one. I've got a weird sort of extractor thing. But I'm not sure that's going to work. Well, we can give it a go. No. That's no flipping good at all. Oh well. Right, let's look over here. Standard tweezers. Let's just make that a bit more stable. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. So it got a bit weird on the cable, but that's absolutely fine. So good. So that's one lot. So that's data in. Data out is 4. So it's the opposite side. So we're going to do 4 and 1. Oops, you can't see that. So 4 and 1 as the 2 thingies. So that's good. Now, so that's the longer cable. That's also another longer cable. So this will be the data. Which way around? Yeah, data out. Again, well, actually this doesn't look too bad, but I'll just crop those a little bit because they're a bit wonky on the outside. Move this one out of the way. So again, we want to have white that side. Okay. I'll just move it round, have a look. You're already on that one there. A similar thing. I must admit, these are not very good. I might have to use these, but these are. I did have some other much finer long, because these are big, dirty looking things. Maybe I just press on with these. That works. Okay. So we've got both of those on there now. Yep, that's not touching. That's good. I do like using the same style cable, the same size cable. It's so much easier. Okay, so we now got 7 and 6. 7 and 6 are the remote control. Okay, so it doesn't matter where they are. They're not polarized at all. So we've got a shorter cable that we're going to stuff into there. That one needs some solder. That's the best thing I've found is with these is to move these wires out of the way a second. Is to get some solder, put it down the hole, and then put some heat to it. There you go, and that fills the hole nicely. And it means that when you're shoving stuff down it, it's there's solder all ready to go. Okay, that's one of them. Not playing ball at all. No, it's not happy. Oh dear, I'm going to have to bring out the unsubtle one. There you go, I felt that go. That's good. Okay, so we've now got the socket ready to go, so there's nothing touching. It all looks good. Forgotten which way round it is, but hey. So 5. The 7 is on that side. one. So this one is data in. So what we're going to do, I'm going to put a quick thing on that just so I can remember. So that's data in. All right. So the next step is to start thinking about this. So we need to, we can essentially just close this up now. So the idea is that this, where's the other side of it? There we go. So there's a keyway there and a keyway there. So that goes in there like that. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some electrical tape. Shouldn't be an issue, but it's sometimes good to have belt and braces. Doesn't look much, but if we put it there, it just stops things shorting out on the. Right, this is going to be held down by this thing, so I'm not too worried. So where's the bottom? There's the bottom with the holder that you crimp onto the leads. These bits go onto the dimples in there. Okay, that's good. And then we use these things to fold over the cables. All right, so they ain't going anywhere. So it's nice and stable. So with this, oops, ran the wrong way. So that thing, that goes there, right? And before you do any other stuff, you have to put this in. So I've got to undo this knot, but I've got hold of it so I can remember that this is data in, and put the knot back. So it's just easier to remember things. And then, so that can go there like that. And it'll be pulled through, lovely. And you've got the last one, which is the remote, much shorter cable, but we are going to deal with that in a minute. So sometimes you've got to make sure that this little flap thing is pushing upwards, because as you work this one up, so there's usually two little, not clips, but things that guide it in on the side, so they've got to be lined up on each side, and then you've got a little keyway there, and as you push it down, it then pops into there like that, and that's done. All right, so that actually doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's a bit weird to have the cables like that, but everything's sort of bonded together and pretty good. So let's have a look at this remote cable. I'm just thinking, where's that? Is that there? So we need some sheathing, some heat shrink. So I'm going to go with a slightly larger one. So we're going to have this here. I'm going to have that size. Is that going to fit? Hang on, I better test this first. Hang on, that was the old connection. So let's just quickly cut that off and see what happens. I think we're going to need a bigger one actually. Yeah, we're going to need a bigger one because it's there's going to be two other wires coming in each with their own heat shrink on it. So we're going to need a bigger piece of heat shrink. So I've got a pack of these, there's loads of them, different sizes, very useful to have. Ooh, just kicking the camera, hang on. Right, there we go. That size. So by doing that, got a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, so we're gonna size this now. So that's the size of that cable there. So if we do that, oh, that's actually not bad. It's actually not bad. Yeah. So if I do it the other way, then we can get that. Not bad at all. I'm just going to maybe chop a little bit off. Okay. And we're going to get some. Okay. So we can expose that. I mean, it's the irony is the only cable that's the proper audio cable is the one not being used for audio, but hey, whatever, you know, these things happen. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly tin these wires. I think just shorten that a bit. I mean, I don't think it's going to short out, but I'm going to sheathe them anyway. But it's always nice to have. If it's not long enough to touch it, it ain't going to short. So this is a good thing. Anyway, so that's going to go over that. So we need to put this heat shrink over the whole of that. I'll bring that to play in a minute. And then this one, where is the other heat shrink? Where is it gone? That's the large one. Ah, that's down here. I'm going to end up running out of black. Oh well. Can't change now. So I'm going to cut this. We only need half of it, so we only actually need it on one of them because the other one will be taken care of by the other heat shrink. So that's going to go there like that. That's going to cover it all up. So we're going to okay, so that's one of them. I think what I'll do is shorten that down. I probably can't see any of this, I just realised. Okay. Right, shorten that right down. And then that's already tinned, so I'm going to have to tin this one. Okay. Right, so that's my heat shrink on there, which is actually too big. So I'm going to make that smaller again. Okay, that's one lot. See the heat shrink on. In fact, let me move this out so you can actually see what's going on. So that's one lot of heat shrink on there. See that? Then we can just heat that up a little bit, and then the other one goes on there like that. Okay, that comes off. Okay, so that's there like that. I'm going to get the larger on it. Okay, done. Not too bad. Okay, so let's do the audio stuff first. So we're going to do the in. So we put this bit on first, obviously, and we've got to try and adjust that a little bit. So there is actually some sheathing on there, but I think I've only got it for one of them. I'm not sure. I don't know where the other one's gone. So those are tinned already. So let's put some solder on this thing first. Typically, you find it's actually quite difficult to transfer the solder onto these. Oh, that actually took quite well. Surprising. So we're going to put that sheathing on there anyway. So put it on there first. Just get that out of the way. And the white's going to go to in. And the green ouch, that hurt. Okay, that's good. Let's cool that down a little bit. And a similar kind of thing where you end up crimping it. Crimp one side, crimp the other side, make a good mechanical connection, and then that goes over there like that, and then this one goes over there. So the only problem is I have no idea whether, when you look at it, whether that is in, out, whatever, no idea. So we probably have to put a label or something like that. Maybe I'll print off a label. Yeah, I say, okay, for now what I'm going to do, it doesn't really matter about colours and stuff like that, but I just remember that anything that's got a difference on it, i.e. a mark or whatever, that can be in, right? So now I've got to do the out, and I'm wondering whether that would actually fit. I might be able to use a bit of get through this heat shrink. I do, I bought a lot of it anyway. So if I get some real big stuff, and get it open. There you go. I'm not going to use red this time. No, black rather. I'm going to use green. Why not? It's all hidden away. yeah, that should work nice. So it doesn't need to be very long. So let's cut that to size. Cool. Same sort of procedure, though this one has been used before. In the last video, the mantra of, oh yeah, this has been used before, it'd be fine, it didn't go all that well. This one certainly has had some treatment, but it is what's available, so I'm going to use it, and better to use it than to chuck it away, to be fair. So that one looks okay. This one needs a bit of solder. Okay. Similar kind of thing. Make sure you put this on first, and the sleeving, that's there first before you start soldering anything. Rotate that round the other way, and we've got the white one. I'm going to do the ground one first, just easier, and the white, which is the data. So that's data out, so this is for recording programs. Okay. Yeah, this one is not as happy. In fact, I should have opened this up to start with, but let's see if I can leverage it open. The problem is that's a bit bent up, so I'm going to have to use that to essentially bend it open so it's big enough for me to actually bend across. You see it's all got a bit mashed up, but there you go, it'll probably be fine. Now I've bent that way, it's a case of just folding it over that way, folding it over that way. Looks good, looks good. So improvised sleeving and a bit of wiggling on there. There we go. So that's the out. So technically, in theory, I don't know. In theory, that cable is now ready to go. So let's have a quick look. Move this out of the way. It's got. I mean, it's a bit weird with that remote control, but hey. So here it is. So the 9-pin, the 8-pin DIN connector, and a bunch of cables for audio and remote control. So I'm going to just weave these around a little bit, because otherwise, you know, they sort of flap around a lot. And to be fair, the I might even cable tie it. That might be a good idea. Thing is, when you're using this sort of cable, you plug it into the back of the computer, and your tape deck, let's pretend this is the tape deck, they're usually all on one side, so you just plug it all in, basically in the line. So anyway, so the next video will be me testing this to see whether all the hard work has paid off. Cheers.